Listen to the sound of your own breathing. In this very moment, thousands of miles of neural pathways are firing, carrying messages that define who you are. But what happens when the message is nothing? What happens when you reach out to the person who is supposed to be your sanctuary and you find a wall of cold, unyielding obsidian? You have been there. You are sitting at the dinner table. The clinking of silverware sounds like a hammer on a nail. You ask a question, and the air freezes. You apologize, and the silence only deepens. You are witnessing the activation of the most lethal, clinical, and ancient weapon in the human inventory, the social ghost protocol. Welcome to the Behavioral Psychology Lab. I am the Fate Observer, the cosmic commentator of the human condition. Today, we are not just discussing a bad habit. We are performing a surgical incision into the psychology of people who choose silence when hurt. We are going to decode why your brain treats being ignored exactly like a physical execution. We are going to analyze the Tur Huet Kam Zook, the emotional death points that drive a human being to erase you while you are standing right in front of them. By the end of this transmission, you will not just understand the silence. You will see it as a tectonic shift in the geopolitics of the soul. Prepare for enlightenment. Let us look at the geopolitics of the burning brain. Imagine your mind as a high-performance engine designed for one thing: connection. For 5 million years, our survival depended on being seen by the tribe. To be invisible was to be dead. This is why, deep within the architecture of your skull, sits the anterior cingulate cortex, or the ACC. In the laboratory of destiny, the ACC is your master pain alarm. When you break a leg, the ACC screams. When you burn your hand, the ACC fires. But here is the revelation that will shift your reality. When someone you love goes silent on you, your ACC catches fire with the exact same chemical intensity as it does during physical trauma. Your brain does not distinguish between a broken heart and a broken bone. The pain of being ignored is literal. It is biological. It is a system-wide emergency. You feel that phantom ache in your chest, that heavy lead in your stomach. That is your body reacting to a social amputation. We live in a world where 68% of the population suffers from phantom vibration syndrome, a desperate hunger for the digital heartbeat of the tribe. When the architect of the void chooses to withhold their voice, they are not just not talking. They are performing a surgical removal of your status as a human being. They are starving your nervous system of its primary fuel, the recognition of your existence. Now, let us observe the surface symptom through the lens of power. Statistics reveal a haunting pattern. 80% of women, when their boundaries are violated, will utilize silence as their primary strike. This is not a retreat, it is a scorched earth policy. In the world of human behavior, we speak of the 4 emotional triggers, the Tu Huet Kam Zook: self, money, love, and reputation. When the silent fortress closes its gates, it is launching a direct assault on your trigger of self. By refusing to respond, they are revoking your right to defend yourself. They are making you invisible. This is wordless hypnosis. The human mind cannot tolerate a vacuum. It is a machine programmed to find patterns and meaning in the chaos. When the architect of chaos provides no data, your brain begins to manufacture its own monsters. You fill the silence with your own insecurities. You replay every mistake you've made since childhood. You become your own interrogator, lashing yourself with what-ifs. They don't have to say a single word to destroy your self-worth, because they have turned your own nervous system into a weapon against you. This is the dark mastery of the limbic blockade. They have turned the space between you into a minefield, and they are waiting for you to step on your own fears. But what is happening inside the engine of the one who has gone quiet? To find the enlightenment, we must look at the gasping engine of destiny. Most people assume silence is a choice made in cold blood. But for the falling titan, Silence is often a defensive collapse. We must understand limbic friction. Imagine the brain as a complex system of gears. When a person is hurt, the limbic system, the ancient emotional furnace, is flooded with a toxic cocktail of cortisol and adrenaline. The pressure is mounting. The system wants to roar, to weep, to scream. But the prefrontal cortex, the chief of logistics, looks at the cost of communication and realizes the system is bankrupt. To turn that tectonic, raw pain into a coherent sentence requires an immense amount of task bracketing energy. When the pain is too deep, the basal ganglia pulls the emergency brake. The engine seizes. This is not a choice in the way you choose a meal. It is a biological seizure of the soul. They are not refusing to speak. They are physically incapable of bridging the gap between their internal chaos and the external world. They are trapped in a systemic shutdown, a monument of frozen air, gasping for breath in a room where the oxygen has been replaced by resentment. To truly understand why the fortress was built, we must travel back to the ghost of the nursery. In the 1970s, Dr. Edward Tronick conducted the still face experiment, a clinical tragedy that serves as the blueprint for all future silence. A mother and her child are in a rhythmic dance of joy. Then, the mother is told to become a silent fortress, a blank mask. In less than 3 minutes, the infant's world disintegrates. The child tries to regain the connection. It smiles, it points, it screams. When the silence remains, the child undergoes a neurological meltdown. They slump, they turn away. They enter a state of psychological death. For many who choose silence today, this was their first language. They are the inheritors of the still face. They learned in the cradle that when the world hurts you, you must become a statue to survive. Their silence today is a haunting echo of a high chair 30 years ago. They are not trying to hurt you. They are trying to stay alive in a world they believe will never truly hear them. They have integrated the still face into their procedural memory, becoming a frozen monument to their own neglected childhood. They are building the same tomb for you that was once built for them. Consider the Cyberball protocol from the halls of Purdue University. Dr. Kipling Williams proved that even in a digital world, being excluded causes systemic shock. When the digital ball is no longer thrown to you, your self-esteem doesn't just dip, it undergoes a total market crash. This is ostracism, the ancient death penalty of the tribe. When you use the silent treatment, you are performing a cyberball execution in the real world. You are telling the person across from you that they have been cast out into the wilderness. This is the social ghost protocol. It is a weapon that leaves no bruises on the skin, but it shatters the neural pathways of trust with the force of a nuclear blast. Dark psychology thrives in this abyssal quiet. A master manipulator knows that by withholding speech, they can induce a state of toxic anxiety so severe that the victim will eventually beg for any crumb of attention, even if it is abuse. They have turned the silence into a vacuum, and they are waiting for you to implode under the pressure of your own need to be seen. So, how do we dismantle the fortress? How do we restart the gasping engine? The answer is not more noise. The answer is strategic sovereignty. If you are the one trapped in the silence, if you are the silent fortress, you must recognize your own limbic friction before the gears seize forever. You must understand the surgical cure of task bracketing. When the emotional load is too heavy, do not try to speak. Instead, bracket the pain. Tell your brain, this is a biological event. My ACC is firing. My prefrontal cortex is offline. By naming the machinery, you begin to reclaim it. Use hypnotic self-talk to separate your identity from the defensive shutdown. Say, I am not the silence. I am the commander of the pause. And if you are the one staring at the wall of marble, You must stop being the beggar for validation. Every time you plead, you are feeding the architect of chaos. You are validating the power of the silence. Instead, you must become the unblinking observer. Recognize that the silence across from you is a symptom of overload, not a verdict on your value. Give them the greenhouse of safety. Do not meet their cold war with your own fire. Meet it with your sovereign peace. Walk away from the cage. Reclaim your reality as an independent entity. When the social ghost realizes that their silence no longer has the power to erase you, the weapon loses its edge. The vacuum is broken. The machinery of destiny begins to turn again, but this time, it turns on your terms. As we draw this forensic autopsy to a close, look into the inner citadel of your own soul. We are all the fate observers of our own narratives. We are all pilots of a complex, fragile, and epic biological machine. The silence you hold today, is it a sacred sanctuary where you find your truth? Or is it a radioactive trench where you are waiting for the world to die? Your voice is the most powerful frequency in the universe, but your silence is the most profound statement of your character. Do not let your still face become a permanent mask. Do not let the limbic friction of your past grind your future to dust. The question is no longer, why are they silent? The question is, who are you when no one is answering? Are you a sovereign mind capable of holding your own light? Or are you a social ghost waiting for a notification to tell you that you're alive? The fate observer knows the truth. The world of 2026 is a desert of noise, but it is, in the abyssal quiet, that the true kings and queens of the psyche are crowned. Do not judge the silent too harshly, for they are the fallen titans, carrying the weight of the unsaid. But do not let their silence become your prison. Think of the deep ocean. It is the most silent place on Earth. At those depths, the pressure is enough to crush a submarine like a soda can. And yet, that is where the most resilient, most ancient, and most mysterious life forms thrive. They don't need the sun. They don't need the noise. They have adapted to the pressure. You can adapt to the silence. You can find your own internal bioluminescence. You can glow in the dark. If this transmission has triggered a tectonic shift in your understanding, if you are ready to stop being a victim of the wordless hypnosis, then you belong in this lab. Subscribe to the Behavioral Psychology Lab. We are the watchers on the wall, the ones who refuse to be cyberballed by fate. Share this epic manifesto with someone who is currently drowning in a sea of silence. Tell them they are not invisible. Tell them the engine can be restarted. The laboratory is closing, the lights are dimming, but the truth is now burning in your synapses. Go forth and reclaim your sovereign voice. The game of ghosts is over. The era of the architect has begun. Wait, there is one final data point. Look at the stars. They have been silent for billions of years. They do not shout, they do not plead, they do not explain. And yet, they guide the navigator across the darkest oceans. They are the ultimate, silent sovereigns. You don't need the noise of the world to know your worth. You don't need a reply to be real. Be the star. Be the light that burns in the vacuum. I will see you in the next deep dive, where we will peel back the skin of reality once again. Until then, keep observing, keep breathing, and never, ever let the silence win. Transmission terminated. Now, get to work.